Hi guys, and welcome to All About the Philippines. So today we're going to talk about why men are seeking Filipinas in 2019. Now, out there on YouTube, you read a lot of comments about the reasons why men are going looking for Filipinas, and this is usually by all the keyboard warriors out there who have no real idea of what's going on in the world, their own world, let alone anyone else's world. They'll talk about things, like the man can't get a woman in his own country, or the Filipinos are easy, they're gold diggers, all these sorts of things. These guys are absolutely clueless. So what I'm going to do today is give you my views on why men like myself have gone and found a wife in the Philippines. And I've heard many other men have the same experiences and the same reasons why they've done the same thing. So every year more and more men are seeking Filipinas, and there is a big factor why they're doing so. So I'm going to tell you what I believe that factor to be. So the first factor, which to me is probably the most dominant factor, is nothing to do with the Filipina as such. It's more to do with women in their own country. Now, women in the country I live in, Australia, and I've heard it's very similar in countries like the USA, they've gone to that extreme feminism. Men don't mind women to be feminine, but when they go to the extreme feminism, there's a difference. And what happens there is the women are demanding to be in charge of the relationship. It's not a 50-50 relationship. They're not talking about 50-50, they're talking about to be the dominant factor in that relationship. Let me make it clear, it's not every single woman in the West is like this, but it is becoming more and more common, so it's becoming more difficult to find a woman who is not an extreme feminist in this country. So that's a factor why a lot of men are seeking overseas partners, like in the Philippines. Not just the Philippines, but many Southeast Asian countries. They've really had enough of this attitude. It's almost to the point where the women in the West are putting the men down and making them feel inadequate and not needed in the relationship so much. And this sort of feminism, or extreme feminism, is becoming more and more prevalent every day in places like Australia and America. So the men, as I say, are becoming turned off by this. So they're starting to think, well, I don't want to be in a relationship where a woman is like this because it's really repulsive to me. That's what men are saying. They don't like it. It's not how they've been brought up. It's not how they've envisaged their relationships. And maybe they've seen it in previous relationships which have been destroyed and it ended in divorce. Now, let's face it, in the West here, or in Australia, more than 40% of marriages end in divorce, and I think it's slightly higher in the USA. So something is clearly not working in the West with a relationship. And the extreme feminism in the West is what I believe to be a big factor in the problems. Any relationship needs to be on an equal footing. You can't have one being a more dominant player in that relationship than the other. And that's just basic counselling relationship 101 stuff. Everybody knows you've got to be an equal partner, you've got to have an equal voice, and you can't live with threats of do it or I go, or this is how it's going to be, like it or lump it. And that seems to be the attitude of a lot of women. They seem to be proud to call themselves a bitch and say, oh yeah, I've got a real bitchy attitude and all this sort of stuff. They seem to be proud of that. Now that's nothing to be proud of, and in fact it's a big turn off for men. So they want a woman who's soft, gentle, kind, loving, and can be an equal in the relationship. And this is why they turn to places like the Philippines to get that woman. Now, it's very well known that most of the women, and again we're talking about most of the women in the Philippines. I can't speak for every single woman, but generally speaking through the Philippines, a lot of the women there still have those old-fashioned values where they believe in their husband, they believe in their family, they believe that everybody pulls together and they work through difficult situations and just don't try and overrun the other partner. So men are saying, well, a woman with these sorts of qualities, caring, loving, loyal, honest, committed, all those sorts of things, are going to give them the relationship that they've been looking for and what they've probably missed in their life, and know that that's got a better chance of working for the long term than what they would find here in the West, or easily find here in the West. Now, of course, with computers and things like that, it's easy to actually contact somebody in a country like the Philippines. And generally Filipinas, they won't just dispose of a relationship easily. They come from a country where you do have to work hard for things, and they're prepared to work hard on relationships. In countries like Australia, relationships are easily disposed of, just like everything else is easily disposed of these days. You buy a camera and it breaks down. What do? Instead of getting it repaired, they just throw it out. Your microwave breaks down. Instead of getting it repaired, they throw it away and buy a new one. That seems to be the way they do things in the West. And in the Philippines, if something breaks down, they might try and get it repaired, or that they see the value in keeping things. And this comes back to relationships as well. They value the relationship, and they think, well, instead of throwing it away, I'll work on it and it will be worthwhile in the end. So a Filipina in general will be there for a husband, a family, and really try very hard to make it succeed. They just won't walk away easily unless there's some sort of major problem involved, and we could be talking some sort of abuse, something like that. Apart from that extreme stuff, they're not going to walk away. They're going to really try and work it out and work hard at that relationship. And that's really what men are looking for, especially if they've had previous relationships where the Western woman has just said, no, I've had enough after a few years. I'm not going to handle this anymore. I'm not going to try to work it out. And they know with a Filipina, that's not going to happen. So that's the reasons why more and more men are seeking Filipinas, because of those qualities the Filipinas have, and because of the way the extreme feminism is heading in places like Australia and the US. Men are simply saying, I've had enough, and going to the Philippines where they know that relationship is going to be strong and it's going to last without the woman just taking off at the drop of a hat. So I'd really like to hear your experiences about why you've gone to find a Filipina. And any experience you've had about your relationships in the West, if it's the same as what I'm talking about. If it's not the same as I'm talking about, put your comments below. Of course, we'll remain respectful as always. Don't forget to share the video around with anyone who may enjoy it, and of course hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care, and bye for now.